lucky girl, my gosh, what an amazing evening. And I want to start by thanking Wendy and Tim for making it possible. What a beautiful place for us all to gather together, and to thank those young people, the Youth and Arts Till Dawn group, for inspiring us this evening. I fell in love with water and the watery places of Marin County when I was a little girl, in one of those pure moments of childhood, you know, those memories that you have. In Lagunitas Creek, I was wandering around wading in Lagunitas Creek, and it just felt like heaven for me. And that passion stayed with me for all of my life. I was lucky to have 8 years in Australia. I attended high school and college there and fell in love with the marine environment there. And then when I came back, I married a man, my husband Tim, who's a fly fisherman, and he introduced me to the rivers of Northern California. And so that love of water has always been with me. But it wasn't really until I started working at the Board of Supervisors and was appointed to the Lagunitas Creek Technical Advisory Committee that I started having the opportunity to actually give back to the resources that I cared so much about. And that experience on that committee, when Jared was actually the chair of that committee, was enormously empowering. First of all, I was inspired because I was so excited about the fishery issues. I learned a ton from Jared and some of the really technical minds on the committee. I started to learn about the district, the watershed, the issues, the regulatory environment, as well as understanding the life cycle of the salmon themselves. And I was really inspired by that experience to go out and serve on a number of nonprofit organizations, ranging from the San Geronimo Valley Land Trust and the Planning Group to the Cordell Marine Sanctuary Advisory Committee, a federal entity. And I continued to just expand on my service as well as my knowledge in this arena. And I even thought about 8 years ago about running for the seat, this seat on the water board. Still had young kids at home and knew it wasn't quite the right time for me. And David Bihar stepped up to run and was successful. And I was pleased to support him because he's a very talented guy. And he in turn appointed me to the Water Rates Advisory Committee of the district, which basically gave me a chance to learn about the district from a whole new angle, and that was really about the financial side of the district and how we go about the very complex process of setting rates. So I really felt like I had a deep understanding of the district, and I developed even an affection for the district itself. It almost sounds funny to think about being affectionate about a local government entity, but I did really begin to feel that way and care about it as an organization. And so when David stepped down for personal reasons halfway through his term, he called me and said, you should apply. So I did. I really felt the time was right for me. I had matured as a person. I had the depth of knowledge to do the job well. And so the board selected me from an amazing group of lawyers and even a UC Berkeley professor. And I believe that it was partly because they knew me from those committees and knew my work, but also because I strive very consciously to be a person who resolves issues when there are divergent opinions. I try to find a consensus or a constructive outcome. That's always kind of my number one approach in tackling any issue. And I'm happy to report from my experience on the district that overall the water district's in very good shape. We are in good financial condition, having pulled out of a pretty tough time during the recession. We have an incredible team of staff. We do a super job of taking care of the infrastructure in spite of being the oldest water district in the state of California, and we still have some pipes that date from the 1880s. But by and large, we are taking care of that infrastructure every year to make sure that the water is delivered to you. And so with that basis of understanding that the district overall is in pretty good condition, we do have some big issues in front of us. And I'm betting that most of you can guess what number one is on the list. It starts with the letter D. We're all worried about a multi-year drought. And in fact, I do have a great concern that the district is not sufficiently prepared for a multi-year drought. Climate change makes that concern even greater because we are less certain than ever about what will come to us. We're hearing about the possibility of 4- and 5-year droughts. The one thing we do know about climate change is that conditions will be more extreme. And so I feel very strongly, number one for the district is that we have to be better prepared for a multi-year drought. And that means doing everything from pursuing aggressively conservation programs. We're already well underway with that. Most recently, we've instituted a new rebate program in addition to our conventional toilet and washing machine programs. A multifaceted program that will help people who want to do gray water or water catchment. It will provide swimming pool covers. And we're working also on a cash for grass program. So really the best and easiest place to start is helping all of us do better in our own homes and in our own gardens. We're also pursuing a number of really exciting recycled wastewater projects. You can tell I'm getting to be a nerd because I get excited about recycled water. And we have like 4 different projects cooking at various different stages of development. Most in front of us is the Peacock Gap Golf Course project, which started under Jared's oversight and is now actually coming to fruition. We're just finishing up the financing and expect to see that under construction over the next couple of years. And that's going to be a really big one. It will basically provide recycled water on the order of about 275 acre-feet of water, which translates into about 700 homes over the course of a whole year. So lots of great things happening there. You know, I would also add that it's really important for us to be planning for all contingencies. And, you know, one distinction between I and my opponent is that I feel we must leave no stone unturned. And that means investing in some really good studies to make sure we're looking at every possible option, and then to have a good public discussion about our water supply future. As a community, what are we striving for, and what are the best options for us? So I look forward to that coming conversation in the next year or so. Another critical issue many of you are aware of is taking care of the Mount Tamalpais watershed. Jared mentioned that. The district has a huge problem on its hand. It's an enormous fire hazard on the watershed. The 20,000 acres that we manage on the mountain are infested with invasive Scotch and French broom. We also have a problem of buildup of old vegetation that's a result of both sudden oak death and the disruption of the natural fire cycle. And we have dozens of important endangered and rare species up there that we need to take care of as well. A comprehensive plan has been prepared. We're currently in the process of putting together an environmental impact report, or EIR, which will lay out the facts about the plan and the potential environmental impacts and benefits. Once that EIR is done next year, we will have a deep public discussion about what's the best solution. It will be a contentious discussion, especially in the community of Fairfax, where feelings run high on the subject, but it'll be a matter of weighing different alternatives and the costs associated with those alternatives. And lastly, I would add that I have an ongoing interest in the issue of rates and making sure that rates are fair in order to take care of the folks who are buying our water, but also to ensure the well-being of the district itself. And so I think maybe I'll just conclude my comments about the district by just reminding us how blessed we are, not only to have this incredible mountain that is the source of the water, but also the district itself is such a well-run organization which puts so much thought into the balance that we must strike in managing natural resources as well as bringing the water to you through the infrastructure that's necessary. I'm going to do